and welcome to Ramsey County Elections Training Program for 2022. My name is Josh Kiley, and I want to welcome you and thank you for serving as an election judge with Ramsey County. The information provided in this video applies to the upcoming primary on August 9 and the general election on November 8. If you haven't already, please respond to your assignment letter to confirm your availability to work as an election judge. The integrity of the democratic process is dependent on people like you that are willing to step up and serve as an election judge. For the primary, each team of election judges will consist of about 8 people, led by one head election judge. This team will probably grow to about 10 or 12 people for the general election in November. Now, to staff these teams, the major political parties of Minnesota provide a list of election judges that are affiliated with the party and are willing to serve. This means that every polling place in Ramsey County will be staffed by judges that are affiliated with the different major political parties. That's important to know because we want you to have trust in this process. When the polls close at 8 p.m. on election night, we want you to be proud of the service you provided to Ramsey County residents, and we want everyone to have confidence in this process. In this video, we're going to cover 4 main topics. First is redistricting, then updates for voters who register at their polling place on election day, because that process has changed here in Ramsey County. Next, we'll discuss the new positions that we're introducing this year. And finally, we'll cover the other training requirements you'll have to serve with us on election day. This is the first video in a series of videos that you'll be watching as part of your training. A note for all of the other videos, they will refer to an outdated process for voters who register at their polling place. As will be discussed later, that process has changed. When you attend your in-person training, you'll be receiving a very thorough training on this new process. Also, the polling place reference guide, which is the A to Z reference guide for running a polling place on election day, that guide will reflect the new correct information. So please remember when you watch the subsequent videos, the information related to election day registration is outdated, but you will be receiving all the correct information when you come to the in-person training. The current policy of Ramsey County is that election judges are not required to provide proof of vaccination in order to serve on election day. Policies surrounding COVID-19 are subject to change, and if they do, we will provide you that information. Okay, our first topic, redistricting. A little background, every 10 years, election boundaries are redrawn through a process called redistricting. After the census is completed, boundaries are redrawn to reflect population shifts that occurred over the previous decade. And that means all types of boundaries are redrawn, including federal congressional districts, legislative districts, county commissioner districts, and even ward and precinct boundaries within a city. So, of course, this has a variety of impacts on our office, but let's talk about you for our election judges. First thing to note is please pay very close attention to your assignment because your polling place may have changed. Some cities have added or reduced the number of precincts that exist within their city, and that affects the polling places that we use. So please double check your assignment letter and arrive at the polling place that you have been assigned to. So let's talk about our voters. As part of redistricting, a voter's polling place could change, and it's very likely that their voting districts would also change. Therefore, some voters may arrive at the wrong polling place or just generally be confused or upset about these changes. So a note, as you always have, please continue to be kind, patient, and understanding for all of our voters. If they arrive at the wrong polling place, please make sure that they leave with the correct information. To help voters understand these changes, all registered voters in Ramsey County will receive a notification card about redistricting. This will be sent before the primary, so depending on when you watch this video, you may have already received yours. On the front, this notification card will list the voter's polling place and all of their updated voting districts. So again, that's congressional, state legislative, county commissioner, etc. On the back, it will provide a short explanation about redistricting. So you may see this card on election day as voters may bring it to their polling place, but they are not required to show it or provide it to vote. As voters enter the polling place, greeter judges should encourage them to check mnvotes.org to verify that they're in the correct polling place. This is a website that's run by the Office of the Secretary of State, and it should contain all of the correct information in regards to where somebody should vote. So they'll use a module called Polling Place Finder on that website. Now, if voters are unable to access mnvotes.org, all election judges will be trained to use the precinct finder on the poll pad. That means you can search the voter's current residential address and find their correct precinct and polling place. This leads us to our second topic, update to the process for voters registering on election day. Now, I mentioned earlier that some of the subsequent videos in this series refer to outdated information. That's because starting on the August primary, all voters will be processed on the poll pad, regardless of their registration status. It's a very exciting change. That means if you're already registered, you can, just like you normally did, you can get checked in at the poll pad. However, if you need to register, you can register and get checked in at that very same poll pad. In the past, voters that needed to register were sent to a separate station to complete the election day registration process. Now, we'll be providing a one-stop shop for every voter, and that will be at the poll pad. This means that all election judges will be trained to process all voters on the poll pad, regardless of their registration status. If you're assigned to a poll pad on election day, you won't be alone, so don't worry. This actually brings us to our third topic, which is to introduce our new election judge positions. And the first one I want to introduce you to is called the Registration Specialist Judge. Now, as the name implies, they will be trained to help you with the registration process. They will be an expert and will be available to help assist voters identify acceptable forms of registration. They're also not assigned to a specific poll pad, but rather will support all poll pad stations. So you won't be alone. You will have this new registration specialist judge there to assist you. The other new position this year is the interpreter judge. Polling places in need of interpreters will now be assigned interpreter judges. So these are election judges that will be trained as interpreters as well as the election day procedures, but their main duty is to provide that interpreter services as requested. Please contact our office if you're interested in working as an interpreter judge. Our final topic for this video is to talk about the rest of the training program for this year. All election judges will complete at least 3 hours of training. Training will consist of an in-person class as well as online training videos. Now, this is the first video of the online training videos. So you'll need to watch the rest of them and then complete the associated quiz for each video. The in-person training class is going to focus on the poll pad because we have this new process change for getting folks registered on election day. That's going to provide you with hands-on experience with that piece of technology to prepare you for election day. I will also tell you there will be an optional work at your own pace lab that we'll be offering much closer to election day. We'll provide you the dates and the times for those labs when you come to the in-person class. So when you leave that class, if you'd like to get some more training on that poll pad, there will be opportunities for you. Here's a guide to all the training we're offering in this year based on election judge position. You'll notice there's that standard poll pad training as well as an advanced poll pad training, and that applies to some of our leadership roles in the polling place, including the registration specialist judge. To sign up for training, you'll want to click the Indicate Availability link on your assignment letter, or you can call our office at 651-266-2219, and we'll get you signed up for training. We have reached the end of this training video. I hope you found it informative. Thank you again for serving as an election judge with Ramsey County. After each election, we email a post-election survey to garner some feedback about your experience on election day. We rely on those surveys to understand your experience and gather suggestions and feedback. It's really with these surveys that we're able to improve how we administer voting and elections in Ramsey County. So when the time comes, I would encourage you to take some time to complete that survey. And with that, I hope you have a fulfilling and successful election day. Thank you very much.